What's up, everybody? Steve here. If you've not heard already, Joe Biden took it upon himself to go ahead and add another 60 days to the eviction moratorium, giving further relief to basically tenants who may be in distress because of the pandemic and so forth, even though it basically went against the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court ruled against this as well. And they basically stated that the CDC overstepped their boundaries in even trying to enact this law, enact this moratorium. And all this has been doing is hurting landlords even further, which is one of the reasons why I want to talk about this today, specifically comparing basically annual rentals compared to short-term vacation rental properties. Now, it's unfortunate. You think that if you become a landlord, you kind of have almost a guaranteed source of income. And I know a lot of small mom and pop landlords, even here in Southwest Florida, that have been really destroyed by this eviction moratorium, where essentially they're not able to evict any tenants that are not paying because of the pandemic. And unfortunately, these landlords have bills to pay, they have mortgages to pay, they have real estate taxes to pay, they have utilities to pay in some sense. So it's really unfortunate, and they did pass a multi-billion-dollar bill to basically provide some relief to landlords. However, based on my research, it's been very slow moving in terms of getting those funds back to landlords. Now, checking my local MLS, I predicted in another video, I said mom and pop landlords are they just can't hang on much longer. And I predicted that basically we're going to see an influx of that inventory hit the market, because a lot of these landlords are just going to be sick and tired of being landlords because of this, and because of their rights being taken away from them as landlords. And I think that we're going to see a lot of these properties hit the market. Now, specifically, I dug into two new listings that hit the market, and these two single-family homes were completely destroyed, and immediately I thought this is probably the start of it. Now, I'm not saying that all these tenants that are that haven't been paying are destroying properties, but for some reason, a lot of these tenants have been destroying the properties that they've been living in for free, which I can't even comprehend that. And sure enough, I contacted these real estate agents and just dug up a little bit of background of what happened. And sure enough, these are distressed landlords that the tenants did move out. They were able to secure the properties, get them back, and they were destroyed. Now, these properties, unfortunately, they're going to take a hit financially because the properties are destroyed. They have no inclination to fix the properties up and rent them back out. They have no inclination to rent to fix the properties and sell them. They just want to unload them as quickly as possible. They're willing to take the hit and move on. So I predict we're going to see a lot more inventory come to market, which is good if you guys are an investor and you're looking to buy a property, or maybe you're just looking to buy a property that you can have instant equity in, fix up, and move into. Now, I recently reached out to my real estate attorney here locally, and I asked him if he had any documentation, and he did send me the information, the signed CDC eviction order, which I just want to read a part of the transcript, because we didn't really have any, if you own vacation rental investment properties, we didn't really have any issues with people overstaying their welcome and so forth, because they are short-term rental properties. So really, in my experience, anybody that owns these type of properties, we've been good. We've been able to still collect income rolling in because these are not properties that are homesteads for people. They're not homes. They're basically short-term properties comparable to a hotel or whatever the case is. Now, I'm going to leave a link for you guys as well on the signed CDC eviction order on page 3. I'm just going to read it to you guys. Now, it goes on to say, residential property means any property leased for residential purposes, including any house, building, mobile home, or land in a mobile home park, or similar dwelling leased for residential purposes, but shall not include any hotel, motel, or other guest house rented to a temporary guest or seasonal tenant as defined under the law of state, territorial, tribal, or local jurisdiction. So I'm happy that Jay, my attorney, passed this along to me, because right here it's basically stating that, you know what, you can, if somebody's in your property for short-term reasons and they overstay their welcome, you're going to be able to get them out. Now, I'm not sure exactly the law associated with it, and it's probably different state to state, but sure, you could probably just call the sheriff's department and get have them trespassed against the property. So one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is I think it's important to, when you guys are investing in real estate, to, especially this day and age, and seeing how the government really overstepped their boundaries and hurt what you would never really expect, except for maybe certain liberal states like New York or California being not landlord friendly. But, you know, I think it's important that if you are investing in real estate, that, you know, you diversify your portfolio. Maybe it's a combination of short-term rental properties as well as annual rentals, and maybe even some mix of commercial real estate in there as well. Now, keep in mind, there are landlord-friendly states and there are landlord-unfriendly states. So you really want to be cautious depending on where you're investing, what state you're investing. I highly encourage you guys to do your research to find out exactly what the state laws are in terms of representing the landlords as well as tenants, what their rights are and everything else. In the state of Florida, it's pretty damn friendly here in terms of protecting the landlord. So essentially it takes about 30 days to evict somebody, to go through the process, the eviction process, and from beginning to end, as long as you're doing all the appropriate things, you know, processes to evict the tenant. And there's actually companies here locally that'll do it for a few $100s in terms of providing the necessary notices for eviction as well. According to fortunebuilders.com, the best states for landlords in 2021 are Texas, Indiana, Colorado, Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Pennsylvania. So if you've not checked it out already, be sure you check out the other video that I did on mom and pop landlords can no longer hold on. I think it's very compelling, a video in terms of what I think is to come and inventory that is to come, because unfortunately I think our government overstepped boundaries and a lot of landlords are going to be hurt, and it could be opportunity for future investors to pick up these properties at a discount. So take a look at that video next, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot.